KTSM 9 News Now starts right now.
In today's top stories, the Doña Ana County Sheriff's Office held a press conference after a 37-year-old man died after an officer-involved shooting in Chaparral on Monday night. Hello everyone, I'm Estela Casas. Thank you for watching KTSM 9 News Now. Doña Ana County Sheriff Kim Stewart said 37-year-old Jose Adrian Guzman had a history of 35 arrests, ranging from disorderly conduct, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and trespassing. KTSM 9 News reporter Oriana Botarra will have the details later in this newscast. Also, footage captured this morning shows protesters are now camping outside the NMSU campus. Students and private citizens are urging for the university to disclose their financial ties with Israel. This comes as many other universities nationwide are also holding pro-Palestinian demonstrations. And the El Paso School District has launched a destination district redesign that could include sunsetting campuses. Hear what trustees have to say about the DDR.
I'll be honest with you, at this point, why were you in those people's property, man?
Sir, that's awesome.
That's it?
That was it. I returned their tablet. They said it wasn't there, and they let me walk away.
That is a moment captured by body camera video and obtained by KTSM, showing a man who was later shot and killed by a Doña Ana County Sheriff's deputy in Chaparral. This happened on Monday. In just 5 minutes, this encounter turned into a struggle between the deputy and 37-year-old Jose Guzman. The deputy tased Guzman twice, once while running from the deputy, the second time just before he was tackled to the ground. We want to warn you, the video is disturbing. KTSM 9 News reporter Oriana Botarra is live in the newsroom. And Oriana, you've been looking at this video since it came into our newsroom. Please walk us through.
Yeah, Stella, this is a tough video to watch. This morning, Sheriff Kim Stewart walked us through the video, saying the deputy feared for his life after Guzman pointed the stun gun at him. Again, I do want to warn everybody, this video is disturbing. This shows when things became violent between the deputy and Guzman. As the video continues, you can hear the deputy asking him not to struggle. Guzman is then seen getting up and running away. The deputy drops his stun gun and fires. After a brief chase, the deputy again finds Guzman and tases him once again.
Stop! No! No! Stop! Kill him! Stop! Kill him! Go!
In this second confrontation that lasts almost 3 minutes, the two struggle on the ground as the deputy tries again to arrest Guzman. Guzman is heard grunting and shouting. The deputy attempts to call him, telling him to stop several times. As the deputy reaches for his radio, Guzman escapes and grabs the taser. The deputy pepper sprays Guzman, who then begins waving the taser around. Sheriff Kim Stewart says Guzman was pointing the taser in a manner that he could, quote, deploy it. The video ends with Guzman pointing the taser in the direction of the deputy. Stewart said the deputy made several calls for backup. However, they went unanswered. Now the next step is that the district attorney will hear this case. Oriana Botarra, KTSM 9 News.
Okay, Oriana, thank you. And we only shared a portion of the body camera video for time, but you can watch it in its entirety at ktsm.com. It's just under 6 minutes long. Some El Paso schools could be closed as the El Paso School District evaluates resources. District officials say they are partnering with Destination District Redesign study on how money and facilities are currently being used. Part of that may lead to what they call, quote, sunsetting campuses. This morning, they discussed some of their plans and how they will keep parents and the community up to date on their findings.
In addition, we're going to be asking the community, if your campus is impacted and your family is going to transition, what should we consider in terms of how that transition can be a healthy transition for your family?
The district and destination district redesign plans to conduct everything in 3 phases, with final recommendations expected later this fall. All public meetings will be held throughout May and are scheduled for 5:30 each day. For a list of dates and where they will be held, you can visit ktsm.com. Well, let's take a little break from news and get our first look at the forecast. This is Small Town Spotlight, and we are in Sunland Park, New Mexico today. Chief Meteorologist Robert Bettis is at Mount Cristo Rey for today's Small Town Spotlight. Hi there. Hi, Robert. Oh, he's probably meditating.
Hi, Estella. Well, I believe it was the early 80s when one young roving reporter named Estella Casas had to wear a dress and high heels as she walked the entire trail of Mount Cristo Rey, but luckily a woman on the trail saw this young roving reporter named Estella and offered her a pair of tennis shoes so that she could walk up with her tripod and her camera in style. That's right, it's time for Small Town Spotlight, and today, my friends, look out over the beautiful city of Sunland Park in New Mexico. We shall aim our spotlight of good news on that town. Of course, the anchors will be based at the racetrack, and I am attempting the never-before live in HD trekking up the side of Mount Cristo Rey to deliver you this weather report. It is near 90 at the airport right now. It's windy, 30-mile-per-hour gusts, but no dust. I'm going to have your detailed forecast coming up in just a little bit. So, Estella, I'm doing it in...
I saw that. He's not wearing heels and he's not carrying the tripod. At 6.5 minutes past 5 o'clock, we're going to take you outside for a look at traffic. This is US 54 in Rivera. As you can see, the traffic is at a standstill, almost at a stop, but it is moving kind of slowly. But we don't know of any problems. It's probably your typical rush hour traffic. This is I-10 and Lee Trevino. I'm not sure why we have that camera, but it looks good out there. No problems to report at this hour. Pro-Palestinian protesters are now camping out on the NMSU campus. This is video captured earlier today showing several tents setting up. Various signs are calling for the college to disclose financial investments with Israel and to divest from any of those holdings. The encampment is just one of many protests happening nationwide on college campuses. Police in New York and Los Angeles stepped into college campuses overnight to quell escalating violence and clear school buildings occupied by pro-Palestinian protesters pushing for an end to the war in Gaza. President Biden and Congress are keeping a watchful eye, too. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
A potentially watershed moment in the college campus protests against the war in Gaza. Columbia University overnight calling in the New York Police Department to clear the encampment and the building pro-Palestinian protesters had taken over. More than 100 people were arrested, a mix of students and outside agitators who New York's mayor said had co-opted the movement.
Many people thought that this was just a natural evolution of a protest. It was not.
No.
These were professionals that were here.
Columbia's president saying the break-in of Hamilton Hall raised safety risks to an intolerable level, drawing a line between a proud tradition of protest and, quote, acts of destruction, not political speech. At the University of Wisconsin in Madison today, police clashing with and arresting protesters as they cleared that encampment. And overnight, Los Angeles police breaking up violent confrontations at UCLA between pro-Palestinian and counter-protesters. While at George Washington University in D.C., protests have been largely peaceful, though some students have been suspended.
This is going to be a long fight, but we're in this for the long haul, and we're going to do what it takes until we see divestment.
Even if it could potentially cost your academic career or others who are out here?
Yeah, I think this movement is bigger than any of us and more powerful than any of us.
House Republicans meeting with GW University leaders today as a student-led movement becomes a political flashpoint. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
In this all-important election year, Republicans are casting the campus protests as a sign of chaos under President Biden. That's only adding to the pressure to reach a ceasefire deal to calm the turmoil. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has been in Israel. He says the time is now for Hamas to agree to a proposal to pause the fighting and bring home Hamas-held hostages. Small Town Spotlight takes you on the road to Sunland Park. Coming up, KTSM 9 News' Andy Morgan and Tirza Ortiz give us a behind-the-scenes look at how the Sunland Park Fire Department keeps the community safe. Then Career Day at O'Shea Kelleher, a Whole Child Academy. Teachers and students share just how exciting this day was for them in today's Estelas Estrellas. Thanks for watching KTSM 9 News Now, putting local first.
Authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderlands' only certified broadcast meteorologist.
We'll come out of here. I wish I had some facts to share, but I really don't.
Well, you're sitting on the tri-state area.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm at the marker right there. Okay. And then I'll walk up just.
Yes. Q Robert. Robert.
Yes. We made it to the top. You know what? If we've had a couple of technical difficulties, please bear with us because this was totally worth it. Welcome everybody to the top of Mount Cristo Rey. I had a little help from the Sunland Park Fire Department. I'll be honest, I did not walk the whole thing. They have a souped up super buggy and I rode up in style on that. But take a look at this right now. Look at those mountains right there of the west side. Of course, we're doing our small town spotlight on Sunland Park, New Mexico. You can see the racetrack clearly over there, and that's where the anchors will be broadcasting live from there at 6 o'clock tonight. You won't want to miss that. It's beautiful. I mean, it's a little windy up here. I got to admit, gusts are about 30 miles per hour, and it is a little warm. It's close to 90 degrees. I expected the high to be about 92 today. Let's get you a forecast. Here comes your exclusive 9-day forecast. We can expect a high tomorrow of 87 degrees with lighter winds. It'll be a really beautiful day. And then as we move into Friday, a perfect day with a high of 89 degrees. Gorgeous. We move into the weekend and 90 both days. It'll be a little bit windy on Saturday. However, Saturday will not produce any blowing dust. So much like today, if you could stand today, Saturday not bad. Monday, unfortunately, rolls around, and that is going to be a day of problems because that's going to bring gusts of near 55 miles per hour. We can expect those gusts to produce dust. Of course, we'll have another dusty day potentially on Thursday, but get ready because the work week ahead is going to be a windy one. A lot of people have lived in El Paso all their lives, and they don't know this. I want to show you a marker. If you look toward the southeast, and there's downtown in the distance, you'll see a little icon right there sticking up out of the ground. That is actually the tri-state marker. So you have Mexico to the south, we're in New Mexico right here, and Texas goes that way into the west side of El Paso. Absolutely fantastic. And of course, inspired by the sculptor who made the very one overlooking Rio de Janeiro. This is the pinnacle, right? Good Friday. They love to walk up this, and it doesn't even matter if it's a little windy because it's for the Lord, and what an inspiring statue that is. A true treasure of the Southwest here in the borderland. Live up Mount Cristo Rey, you stay with KTSM 9 News.
Our small town series is highlighting Sunland Park, New Mexico. Our KTSM team, Andy Morgan and Tirza Ortiz, are at Sunland Park Racetrack. And hi there, how's it looking out there?
Estella, great. Not as good as you looked back in 2019 at Churchill Downs in the Kentucky Derby. Estella was actually telling me she went to the Kentucky Derby back in 2019.
Of course she did. Estella does everything cool, so I am not surprised that she would be there.
And she definitely looked the part. But that's right, Estella, we're out here at Sunland Park Racetrack and Casino as we have our Small Town Spotlight series rolling on here to Sunland Park, New Mexico.
That's right. And while we are at the racetrack, Andy, we also have other things happening in Sunland Park, specifically the Sunland Park Fire Department. So we do want to shine a light on the heroes who live here and who work here. And we do have an inside look. Go ahead and check it out.
Right next door to El Paso, where it's a large city, we have a lot of open desert. And we're right up against the border wall with Mexico, and we have a lot of calls that include migrant injuries or fatalities that are out in the desert. And so our firefighters have the unique challenges of having to be able to go off-road, find coordinates to try to locate these people that are either lost in the desert or have already died out in the desert. So our guys have different experiences that you wouldn't see in larger departments that are in the urban area.
And we're also dealing with the workload of 911 calls. And of course, you don't know when they're going to come in or if they're going to be severe, how much resources is going to take a lot. We do run a lot of major traumas, especially given the border wall. We do have a lot of migrants that unfortunately fall from the wall, and they do have some major injuries, so we carry a lot of our trauma supplies for that. One fire here, you're going to get all our resources at once. So it's definitely a larger workload being a small department in comparison to bigger fire departments.
There are, so in the last, not the last train.
That's a great look there, and of course our thanks to all our first responders out there. And joining us now is the mayor of Sunland Park, Mayor Javier Pereira. Thank you so much for joining us, Mayor.
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to have you and host you here within the city of Sunland Park.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, we see that the city is always investing in new state-of-the-art facilities. Can you tell us a little bit, what does that entail?
Absolutely. So we have received funding over the last several years for a brand new multi-purpose center within the city of Sunland Park. And it's going to be a small venue within our sports complex, which was designed partially through with Tony Hawk. And this facility is going to have a meeting space for people. It's going to have a commercial kitchen, meeting rooms for people to have meetings, and also we're looking to put in a computer lab within that space. And the idea is to create a space, an environment where people from all ages can enjoy at the sports complex.
I always hear so much about the Rio Grande Trail, obviously a huge landmark here in Sunland Park, New Mexico, but there's also an extension kind of happening right now. What's up with that?
Absolutely. So the city of New Mexico is investing in outdoor recreation, and we're tapping into those dollars. So we're looking to develop the Rio Grande Trail to eventually connect to the Colorado border as well. Wow. So we're one of the first communities to begin work on this trail. So we're very happy to start that work within the city of Sunland Park. And we've already invested about a mile of that trail, and then we're going to be investing about another 10 miles of that trail on both sides of the river.
Wow, that sounds incredible, Mayor Pereira. Thank you so much for hosting us and for having us here and sharing more about the beautiful community.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you having you here.
And make sure you tune in, of course, at 6 p.m. for Small Town Spotlights. Robert has one more look at your forecast. Stay with us. You're watching KTSM 9 News Now.